Konoha village, the morning dew filled the air. At the head of the village, 2 green watermelon rind figures are approaching from far to near. Hey hey hey. Hey hey hey. Come on, Lee. There are only 10 laps left. We have completed today's task of running 10,000 laps around the village. Understood, Mr. Guy. I will definitely stick to it. That's the momentum. Burn your youth. Run down, G. Oh. I feel it, my youth is burning. Come on. Victory is at hand. The roar of youth spread throughout Konoha. Everyone who saw Xiaoli and Might Guy showed strange expressions. This pair of master and apprentice is really a strange landscape of Konoha. Hard work is a good thing though, but it is too weird to be as diligent as these 2 people. When have you ever seen someone run 10,000 laps around a village? But not only do they run like that, they run every day. And the most unacceptable thing for people is their clothing appearance style. It's just too rustic. Funny hairstyles, old-fashioned looks, and the soul of Chu-er that may burn at any time. It makes people involuntarily stay away from these 2 people. Finally, after finishing 10,000 laps of running training around the village, Might Guy looked at Xiaoli with satisfaction. Good job, Lil. But the 980 combination of work and rest is also very important. You have practiced very hard today, and you need to rest enough to let your body relax. In this way, the effect of exercise can be fully exerted on your body. With a tired face, Xiaoli forced a smile and said, I see, Mr. Guy. Might Guy nodded and said, Go ahead and have a good rest. Yes. Xiaoli immediately straightened his body and answered loudly, then bowed 90 degrees and said, Thank you, Mr. Guy, for your teaching today. Then, he turned around and trotted away. Seeing Xiaoli's upright figure leaving, Might Guy nodded silently, feeling a lot of emotion in his heart. Xiaoli, keep your youthful blood. For you who have no ninjutsu talent, this is your only possibility to become an excellent ninja. After watching Xiaoli leave, Might Guy also turned and left. But the direction he did it was not his home. It's the training ground. Walking into the empty training ground, Might Guy's eyes were still burning with flames. Blood boiled in his body. Thanks to Naruto boy, there are so many Konoha hot-blooded boys now. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know that I could keep breaking through the limit. As their senior, how can I let myself go? I want to keep practicing. This is what youth should look like. He took out the scroll, and with a bang, a lot of training equipment was conjured up. Nunchakus, dumbbells, climbing ladders, barbells. Especially the barbell with a discus higher than a human is full of pressure. And the discus is marked with 500 kilogram that is. This barbell weighs at least 1 ton. Might Guy simply twisted his body and did a warm-up exercise. Then go straight to that giant barbell. Put your hands on the ground, put your feet against the barbell, and push hard. Immediately. The 2-ton barbell was immediately lifted up. And Might Guy's face turned red quickly. 1. 2. 3. The arms he supported kept bending and straightening. It turned out to be using 2 tons of levers to practice push-ups. It's so anti-human. 4. 5. 6. Sweat quickly ran down his cheeks. 7. 8. 9. Might Guy is doing more and more easily, and the speed is gradually accelerating. Unknowingly, an hour has passed. 0.997. 0.998.9991000. Push your legs hard. The 1-ton barbell was immediately kicked off several meters. Then Might Guy used both arms to quickly withdraw from the position where the barbell fell. Boom. In the heavy roar, the barbell directly smashed out 2 big holes. It can be seen how real the weight of the barbell is. 1,000 plyometric push-ups done. The next step is the enhanced leapfrog. He took off a piece of thick discus and put them all on his back. Then slowly squat down and take off. 1. 2. 3. Boom. 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 Every time you jump, you will leave 2 deep footprints on the ground. 4. 5. 6. He slowly circled around the training ground. Soon he jumped out of a neat circle of footprints. Before I knew it, another hour passed. The outer circle of the entire training ground was directly sunken half a meter deep. It's as if an extra circle of ditches has been created out of thin air. 997.998.999.1000. Boom. Who? PH. Even Might Guy, a fitness freak, finally felt a little uneven after going through this crazy training. His chest heaved and he was sweating profusely. But even though it is very tiring, when thinking about Naruto's training method before, Might Guy feels that it is still not enough. No. If it's only to this extent, how can I surpass the fate of the people? Not enough. The flames of youth burn in Might Guy. The fighting spirit of the whole person was ignited. Then he went on to train like crazy. Holding a 500-kilogram discus in his arms, he did 2,000 sit-ups without stopping. With a weight of 500 kilograms on his body, he did 2,000 pull-ups without stopping. Wait until the end of practice when Might Guy is drenched in sweat. The afterglow of the setting sun also shone on his face. Watching the sunset, a satisfied smile appeared on Might Guy's face. Today is another day to sway the sweat of youth. Looking at the bright red sunset, Might Guy seemed to see a figure wearing a mask in it, and couldn't help pumping his fist seriously to cheer for himself. Wait, Kakashi. I will definitely catch up with you. With a silent sigh, Might Guy is finally satisfied. With such crazy training, even Naruto probably won't feel enough. Exhaling a breath, Might Guy packed up the fitness equipment, shook his waist, and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, hey, there was a sound of heavy breathing, accompanied by rhythmic slogans. Okay. Might Guy frowned slightly. At this time, who is still practicing nearby? And listening to this voice, why does it feel familiar? With a hint of curiosity and doubt, Might Guy walked towards the direction of the voice. I want to see which hot-blooded man it is. However, when he looked over, eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Kakashi? How will you be here? Might Guy said incoherently. No. How do you know how to train? What the hell is it? Might Guy was completely dumbfounded when he found out that the slightly familiar voice was his fateful opponent, Kakashi. You must know that Kakashi is the genius of their Konoha, it is recognized. Basically, Might Guy has never seen Kakashi practice. All his qualities were fixed when he was a teenager. Even if he was fooling around all day long and watching Xiao Huang, it would not affect his strength at all. This is the world of geniuses, although it is very annoying, but it is so unreasonable. However, it's just such a lazy and idle Kakashi who is doing handstand training with heavy weights. Although the weight is not comparable to him, it is not a weight that ordinary people can bear. It can be seen how seriously he practiced. After hearing Might Guy's voice, Kakashi stopped slightly and glanced up. Oh, it's Guy. I just practiced for nothing, don't be surprised. Might Guy lay flat on the ground, yelling at Kakashi in the face. How could you not be surprised? You are a genius far surpassing your peers without training. You are training like this. It's the first time in my life that I see you actually training. What the hell happened? This excites Might Guy. Almost even swear words came out. Compare that to the excited Might Guy. Kakashi looked very calm. He replied while doing push-ups methodically. It comes on a whim, so practice it. That being said, however, Kakashi's heart is not at all as peaceful as it appears. What the hell, if Lousy doesn't practice, he can't even beat the ninja school students. The world is changing too fast. When did a ninja school student become so strong? And even if you have a Naruto, Sasuke is so strong. The most outrageous thing is that the weakest-looking little Sakura is not weak. Thinking of how the three of them snatched the bell from their own hands in a snap, Kakashi felt a huge pressure in his heart. Taking Naruto and the others out on a mission this time gave him a heavy blow. He, Konoha Elite Jonin, is actually not as powerful as a ninja school student who has not graduated. How does this make him accept? I can't accept it. If he can't accept it, what can he do? Of course I practiced. Might Guy gritted his teeth. Seeing Kakashi training methodically, he couldn't sit still. Even at this moment, the limbs are a little weak. Even though he has just undergone terrifying training, his strength has been exhausted. But in the face of the invitation of his fateful opponent, how can he avoid it and not accept it? At this time, It is necessary to use perseverance to decide the outcome. Roll. Open book. Can only roll away. Might Guy quickly took out the weight, and then lay down in front of Kakashi, burning with the flame of fighting spirit, doing push-ups quickly. Damn. Even you have started training, I will not lose to you. Oh. I will never give up. As usual, facing the burning Might Guy, Kakashi would only show a speechless expression. But now, feeling the urgency, Kakashi can't help speeding up his frequency. The two started a push-up race. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the two of them. The shadows of the two were stretched very long. On the ground, their shadows were ups and downs, and their speed was fast. Sweat was sprinkled on the ground with their movements. This picture constitutes the lost youth of the two. And at this time, Naruto happened to be meditating at home. Sudden. Ding. Involvement successful. You have successfully forced Kakashi to start involution and obtained 10,000 involution points. Ding. Inward scrolling successful. You have successfully forced Might Guy to start involuntary and get 1 square point of inner circle value. Okay. Naruto opened his eyes suspiciously. What's going on here? Why are there so many introversion values suddenly? After thinking about what happened recently, he quickly got the answer. Looks like Kakashi got rolled up too, he suddenly said. Guess what, Kakashi? Another one is even better. Kakashi must have been seen by Might Guy during training. Then Might Guy was inspired to fight and practiced together. Thinking of this, Naruto resolutely gave up meditating, then got up and walked towards the training ground. These two are obviously already jonin, and they are still working so hard, it seems that I can't stop. Let's practice. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Land of the Winds, Sanagakure. A few days have passed since the last incident. Special ward area of the hospital. 4th Kazekage Luo Sha walked in with a gloomy expression. Under the leadership of the medical staff, I came to a ward. Lying on the hospital bed was Chio, who was still unconscious. Naruto's punch not only stunned Chio physically, but also almost knocked Chio down mentally. It's just that Naruto is too small but too strong. Completely exceeded Chio's expectations. Although the trauma has been completely repaired, but the trauma of the spirit makes her not know when she will be able to wake up, or rather, she does not want to wake up. Luo Sha looked at Chio with a gloomy expression. The medical staff next to him trembled and did not dare to speak out. How is Chio consultant doing? He asked bluntly. The doctor stepped forward and said cautiously. Advisor Chio's body is in good condition, but his spirit. He didn't get it right. But Luo Sha already understood. In this case, Chio may wake up at any time, but it is also possible that you will never wake up. Luo Sha snorted heavily. Take good care of Advisor Chio, the current Sanagakure cannot do without her. After speaking, he walked out with a dark face. Yes, we will take good care of the advisor, Mr. Kazekage, please go slowly. The doctor hurriedly nodded and bowed to send Luo Sha away, and then let out a big breath. Come out of the ward. Luo Sha saw her 3 children at a glance. Not only did his complexion not improve, but it became even more gloomy. A bunch of trash. Obviously occupying the superiority in numbers, they haven't even fought a kid from Konoha. Not only let the hostages escape, but also let the consultant Chio get injured and unconscious. You guys are so nice. To be honest, if it wasn't for Baki's repeated reports, Luo Sha couldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. The other party killed their elite troops with just a brat. Also injured the Chio consultant. Look at the 3 that I gave birth to. They are all in the same grade, why is there such a big gap? You are simply ashamed to be my children of Fengying. Father, it's not that we are too weak, it's that the other party is too. Tamari looked up to explain. Luo Sha stared immediately. Why? Still not convinced. It seems that I am usually too gentle with you. Or is it the time for your rebellion? If you lose, don't make excuses. Tamari looked down. Not like this, Konkuro wanted to defend himself. But seeing Luo Sha's staring eyes, he immediately lowered his head and didn't dare to look. Luo Sha was furious, but he did not completely lose his mind. After getting angry, he gradually calmed down. He began to think about the situation, even full of worry in his heart. What the hell is going on with that Uzumaki Naruto? It is reported that he is about the same age as Gaara, but he can defeat Senju Advisor alone? He is already so strong at such a young age. When he grows up, he will definitely be my confidant. Sanagakure's big trouble. Luo Xia looked at her 3 children. The more you look at it, the more unpleasant it becomes. The more I look at it, the more I feel that they are less exercised. After calming down, Luo Xia said seriously to the 3 of them. You 3, from tomorrow onwards, give me double training. Temari. Konkuro. This, Gaara. Luo Xia's gaze became more severe. It's all because of your lack of training that you can't help me with anything this time. Starting tomorrow, you will run 500 kilometers every day with heavy loads, including sand ninjutsu, puppet art, shuriken dark crystal art. Practice them all for me. I'll keep an eye on you all personally, and if you don't meet the standards, none of you will be allowed to rest. Did you hear that? Gaara's expression darkened suddenly. Temari and Konkuro looked at each other, both wanting to cry. Rosa narrowed her eyes. Why is the voice so low? Are you dissatisfied with my arrangement? Temari and Konkuro shivered, looked up and shouted, yes. Luo Xia snorted coldly, glanced at the silent Gaara, flicked his sleeves and walked away. Ding. The involution is successful. You have forced Gaara to start involution and get 1000 involution points. Ding. Involution succeeded. You have forced Temari to start involution and get 1000 involution points. Ding. Involvement successful. You have forced Konkuro to start involution and get 1000 involution points. Konoha, Naruto's house. What happened? I just practiced Naruto all night, and I received a system prompt immediately after I came back, and my eyes were a little weird. Are you rushing forward and backward at this time? I just received the introspection from Kakashi and Might Guy yesterday, and you came here? Naruto sighed silently. I wanted to take a break at first, but now that even Gaara and the others are practicing, I can't rest anymore. Let's continue to practice. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Country of Fields. It is a small country bordering Konoha. The 3 sides face the earth, and the sun faces the sea. The economy of TNG country is mainly based on agriculture, and commerce such as handicrafts is also fairly developed. Like a small country like the country of Nami, there is no ninja village in Tien country, not even ninjas. But what most people don't know is that there is a cage-level Xingtu lurking in the territory of Tianjiguo at this time. It was Orochimaru-san, one of the Sannin who was kicked out by Konoha. In the gloomy cave, a flickering candle on the table illuminates a small area. But it made the surrounding darkness even deeper. There are some paper documents on the table. The above records are some taboo experimental content reports. For example, culture data for wood-style vectors. Experimental data on soul transfer. Various forbidden technique research materials and so on. The information covers each other, making it impossible to see the complete content. However, it can be seen from the exposed words that there is an extremely cruel reality hidden in these experimental data. The tragic situation of those experimental subjects is beyond description. At this time, a figure slowly emerged from the darkness. Long black hair, golden vertical pupils, purple eyeshadow, and pale and gloomy skin. This person is one of Konoha Sannin, Orochimaru. Because now he has defected from the village because of the wreckage, and has become a traitor. Orochimaru has no other good places to go, so it can only hide in a small place like Tanokuni, which is neglected by the 5 major countries. Going to the table and sitting down, Orochimaru sorted out the materials and gathered them one by one according to the items. Suddenly, he made a move. A figure slowly stepped out of the darkness. Orochimaru knew who it was without looking back, because not many people knew about this place. You're back, box. Orochimaru's voice was hoarse. He turned his head, stretched out his snake-like tongue, and licked his lips. His words were full of expectation. How? How is my goal growing? Orochimaru's eyes gradually became hot. Uchiha Itachi. When I was expelled from the third generation, it happened too hastily and I didn't make enough preparations, so I didn't take Uchiha Itachi away when I left. It was really a top 10 last wish. But that's okay. Orochimaru believes that as time goes by, Uchiha Itachi's growth will surprise him even more. Because he will never be just an ordinary Uchiha. With those eyes that can see through life and death, 677 let Orochimaru understand his extraordinariness. After so many years, I don't know how far he has grown. Do, tell me quickly, how is he eligible to be my container? Orochimaru asked wildly like a shopper who went to a street store and couldn't wait to take off his clothes. However, bizarrely, under his expectant gaze, Do's expression was full of hesitation. Orochimaru frowned suddenly and said with some dissatisfaction, Do, you should know my temper. Why do not you answer me? Do continued to remain silent, and even began to frown, looking a bit embarrassed. Hey, what's going on? Orochimaru became anxious. Could it be an accident? Itachi, is he dead? Do shook his head and said hesitantly, That's not true, it's just. Orochimaru said suddenly dissatisfied, Don't dawdle, speak quickly. Do sighed and said softly, Uchiha Itachi was really good, but right now, in Konoha village, there's one guy who can outshine everyone. Including Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi is nothing in front of him. Hear this. Orochimaru groaned and stood up straight away. How is this possible? That's Uchiha I'm optimistic about. How can Konoha have someone surpass her? Who overshadowed Uchiha Itachi? Do said word by word. It is Uzumaki Naruto. Orochimaru was taken aback. Uzumaki Naruto? Children of the fourth generation and Kushina? Orochimaru thought about it for a moment, and was immediately stunned. Uzumaki Naruto? Isn't he only 6 years old now? According to his age, he should be at the Jonin school. How could he overshadow Uchiha Itachi? What the hell happened? Yuzo Naruto. What the hell did he do? Don't miss a single word, tell me everything. Pocket sighed deeply. Then Naruto's achievements in Konoha were told. Orochimaru's face was serious from the beginning, and gradually became shocked, and at the end, it was directly distorted. The shock on his face is unbelievable. Beyond Flying Thunder God's body flicker technique? Dodge technique against 20 people alone without getting hurt? Blast? Rasengan? Sharingan? How the F*K is this possible? Orochimaru's snake eyes are wide open. He felt that his scientific common sense had been greatly challenged. Fourth generation's purpose Flying Thunder God is space ninjutsu. No matter how fast body flicker technique is, it is impossible to pass space ninjutsu faster. This is absolutely impossible. Unscathed in the face of a joint attack by 20 people? Not even ninjutsu. Still impossible. There are also blasting techniques invisible to the naked eye, and fourth generation's original spiral. Especially Sharingan. This is so ridiculous. What the hell, you, a non-Uchiha tribe, can practice Sharingan? If you don't believe it, you won't believe this snake even if you kill me. Totally hell. Orochimaru leaned against the wall, full of unsolved mysteries of humanity. All these, in his opinion, are impossible for Naruto who is only 6 years old. No, even a normal ninja can master the abilities. But he knew that it was impossible for him to deceive himself. There may be some discrepancies in the details, but generally not too much difference. If Do is a person who can't distinguish information carefully, he will not develop Do into his own spy. So, are these true? This incredible idea popped up in Orochimaru's mind. He really didn't want to believe it. This is completely against his philosophy. It also goes against scientific cognition. After more than an hour of slowing down, Orochimaru finally recovered. After a while, he stared at the pocket on the ground, his gaze was perfect, and he said thoughtfully, It seems that I need to go back and take a look for myself. I want to see how special the fourth generation and Kushina's children are. As always, a beautiful day. Early in the morning, Naruto headed towards the gate of Konoha with the Shaoqiangs. Naruto intends to take them to practice blasting. However, at the door of Konoha, Kodzuki Izumo and Gang ZT, who were guarding the gate, stopped them. Hey, wait. The two blocked Naruto's path. Is there a problem? Little Sakura asked in surprise. Kodzuki Izumo looked at Naruto gravely. Naruto, little Sakura, Sasuke, you just defeated the ninjas of Sand Shinobi, now is the dangerous period. If you leave the village, you may be assassinated by them. So you'd better practice in the village, understand? A group of Xiaoqiang are a little lost. But at this moment, Naruto didn't care, instead he looked at Gang ZT. It was mainly Gang ZT's face that caught his attention. The same as the gate guard. Kodzuki Izumo's face was ruddy and full of energy. However, Gang ZT's complexion was sallow, his cheekbones were high and protruding, and his dark circles almost reached his chin. It was as if he hadn't slept for several days and nights, and his whole body exuded a tired breath. Naruto asked curiously. Hey, Senior Gongzatai, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale? Could it be that you stayed up late and guarded for several days? Hearing Naruto's words, the others also looked at Gang ZT and couldn't help talking when they saw his expression. That's right, your complexion is so bad. Did you not sleep well last night? It's really hard work. I'm so tired, but I still stick to my post. It's really admirable. It's really reassuring to have someone like him guarding Konoha's gate. As expected of Konoha Shinobi, even if it's just the task of guarding the gate, he is so serious about it. Hear the discussions of the Xiaoqiangs. Gang ZT's face was a little embarrassed. Smiling embarrassingly, he scratched the back of his head and said, Hey, it's not really, recently I found a good novel, and I'm a little obsessed with it. Little Sakura was curious. What novel is it that makes you so addicted? You look like you haven't slept for a few days. Gang ZT said awkwardly. I fell asleep, but I was too excited when I read the novel. By the way, I can't disclose the name of the novel. It's not suitable for you children to read, but this book can be said to be a masterpiece on the market recently, and it's sold out. Now it was Naruto's turn to be embarrassed. He now fully understands why Gang ZT looks like this. This shit, he must have read his own work, and the lad knows no temperance, no restraint. He reckoned that Gang ZT brain must have been confused. What kind of book is it? It's so fascinating. Can I read it? Ino asked curiously. Gang ZT shook his head. No, but I can tell you that there is a Chen Jia in the name used. Girl with a white knot? Tooth asked curiously. Naruto was startled, turned his head quickly, and looked at Fang in surprise. Gang ZT was also dumbfounded. What the hell? How did this guy know? Hey. Ya, how do you know? Did you read it too? A group of Xiaoqiang asked seriously. Where is it? I don't want to become a useless uncle like Kakashi-sensei. Tooth hurriedly waved his hand and said. I just saw a novel with this title in my dad's room. By the way, the toilet paper at home is always used up very fast recently. My dad even told me to buy toilet paper. Go to the store. Said. The teeth ran away. This. Naruto looked embarrassed. Useless messages have been added. Ahem. He coughed quickly to attract everyone's attention, and then watched Gang ZT quickly change the subject to prevent others from becoming curious about the book. Let's not talk about the book. Senior Gongzatai, seeing how tired you are, why don't I help you look at the gate for a day, so you can take a good rest? Gang ZT frowned suddenly. How can this work? You are still students, how can you entrust you with such a dry, important position of guarding the gate? Neji took a step forward and said seriously, if you are so tired, you will definitely not be able to concentrate. What should I do if something unexpected happens at that time? Although Naruto is young, his spirit is at least concentrated. This, Gang ZT was a little dazed. Shikamaru held the back of his head with his hands. If it's just a small problem, at most it will be reprimanded. But if you let the spies from the enemy village go, then the gate of the torture department will be waiting for you. Torture department. Gang ZT swallowed. Thinking of Morino Ibiki's face, his heart trembled involuntarily. Looking at Shenyan Chuyue, the other party gave him an okay look, and Gang ZT finally made up his mind. Then, well, I'll trouble you then. I'll come back to guard when I regain my spirits. If there is anything unclear, you can ask Chuyue. Gang ZT was finally persuaded. He dragged his tired body back. As for what to do when you go back, that's not what Naruto and they care about. Xiaoqiang are very excited, although a day of practice was delayed. But the novelty of looking at the gate still diverted their attention here. I really didn't expect that we would be able to guard the gate of Sleepy Leaf. Shouldn't those who come in have to be checked? I'm so excited. I wonder if I will meet the spies from the enemy village? HMPH. I'm sure I can catch a spy. Then I'll catch two. I'm 3. I want to catch one. The Xiaoqiangs were discussing in full swing. The novel experience of looking at the gate unexpectedly fell on them. This kind of experience of ninja work in advance made this group of reserve ninjas very excited. When they watched Naruto perform the task before, their hearts were very hot. But due to his own identity and strength, he didn't propose to follow at the beginning. I didn't know how regretful I was when I got home. I didn't expect to have such an opportunity now, looking at the gate. Tisk tisk. This is something that only real ninjas can do, right? Seeing a group of Xiaoqiang excited, Kozuki Izumo, sitting on the sidelines, felt his chance had come. I usually sit at the gate with Gang ZT. Just sit all day and nothing will happen. Although this is also very good, it means that the law and order is good. But after a long time, the boring feeling almost drove the two of them crazy. Now, looking at this group of lively little strong people, they look like they are seeking knowledge. Kozuki Izumo wanted to show off his heart, and started to get restless. Kozuki Izumo coughed hard. As a senior, let me tell you some precautions about guarding the gate. His words immediately attracted Xiaoqiang's attention. Naruto also turned to look at him, wanting to see what he could say. Feeling everyone's gaze, Kozuki Izumo felt wonderful. Is this what it feels like to be watched? Great. He raised his head and said slowly. The duty of guarding the gate may seem easy, but there are many points to pay attention to. You sit here and keep an eye on everything in all directions. Keep your eyes on the 4 directions and your ears on the 8 directions. Everyone who comes in and out, you have to watch carefully and identify their identities. Anyone suspicious will not be let go. That guy Gang ZT, Zhao Wanghao, almost missed a suspicious person back then. I was still focused enough to find that sneaky guy right away. It turned out to be the enemy's spy. That's a great achievement, even Captain Yi Bixi praised me. When talking about this, Kozuki Izumo was very proud. After all, this is the only record he can get. And all along, he has no one to show off. After all, Gang ZT was a witness at the time, so he couldn't show it off at all, and it's not good to show off such things in front of Kakashi and other experts, for fear of being laughed at. Now, there are so many innocent children listening to him playing here, how can he not be excited? Oh, Senior Izumo is amazing. Xiaoqiang exclaimed and listened attentively to what Kozuki Izumo told about the things that need to be paid attention to. Seeing the appearance of Xiaoqiang, Kozuki Izumo is even more proud. The head is almost tilted, and at this time, not far away. Orochimaru, disguised as a businessman, also wearing a bamboo hat, silently listened to Kozuki Izumo's words, and nodded secretly. Although he is a bit showy, what this guy Shenyan said is not too exaggerated. There are indeed some places that need attention. However, those suspicious characters you mentioned are just the lowest level ninjas. People who are a little bit stronger, you can't see it at all. For example, I have sneaked into Konoha, but no one has noticed. If you want to see through my disguise, you still need to practice a lot. Orochimaru complained silently, turned his gaze, and saw the yellow-haired figure. Is this the 4th generation and Kushina's child? Sure enough, it's very similar to the 4th generation project. But how could he have a Sharingan? For the other ninjutsu, I think he developed some kind of secret technique by himself, but Sharingan. Orochimaru is a scientist, specializing in research. Back then, with the backing of Danzo, I did a lot of research on things like blood successor boundaries. Of course he knew that if these blood successors wanted to awaken, they could only be limited to their unique bloodlines. But anyone who is not of this bloodline will not be able to awaken the bleeding inheritance limit. Naruto owns the thing about Sharingan, and Yin Shimaru can't figure out what's going on no matter how hard he thinks about it. While he was thinking, Naruto's voice came from next to my ear. So, the basic quality of Konoha's guards is to detect spies, right? Naruto looked at Shenyan Izuki seriously. Yes, it's an important job as a doorman, and it's very difficult. Because most of the spies who sneak in are well-trained ninjas who are very good at disguising themselves, so they look no different from ordinary people. If you don't have 10 years or 8 years of skill, you can't tell the difference at all. Hearing this, a group of Shaoqiang nodded thoughtfully. Orochimaru also silently nodded. Although this Shenyan Daiyue likes to put on a show, what he said is not unreasonable. It does take a lot of effort to be able to see who is a spy. But at this moment, Naruto frowned slightly. Ah. According to what you say, I seem to have discovered a spy. Hear this. Orochimaru's thoughts suddenly retracted, and he looked up at Naruto. I still feel a little funny in my heart. How old are you? I'm afraid you haven't even taken a spy course. Do you know how to tell a spy? What a lovely child. Kodzuki Izumo was also taken aback. What spy? What nonsense are you talking about? Where did the spy come from? Naruto calmly pointed to the businessman disguised as Orochimaru next to him and said. It's right there. Everyone looked in the direction Naruto pointed, and saw an honest businessman. At this time, Orochimaru is full of question marks. I rely on. What's the situation? I was found out. But how was it discovered? There is no reason at all. Orochimaru panicked a bunch. Basically no one can see through his camouflage. I'm still watching a good show here. In the end, Naruto actually exposed himself. But how did Naruto see through it? He didn't even get close to him, but from a distance of about 10 meters, he could be seen as a spy. Kodzuki Izumo frowned slightly and said, Naruto, I know that businessman, he is a regular customer, he can't be a man. Wait, Naruto, where are you going? In the middle of his speech, he suddenly saw Naruto walking over with the Shaoqiangs, and he suddenly stopped. If there was a conflict because of a misunderstanding, he, the gatekeeper, would suffer the most. Naruto led everyone to stand in front of Orochimaru, and Orochimaru was so nervous that he was dying. But he still pretended to be calm and looked at Naruto with doubts. Kr. Orochimaru wanted to see how Naruto found out his identity. But Naruto didn't intend to explain, and asked directly without saying a word of nonsense. Are you Orochimaru? Orochimaru's brow was sweating under the disguise. How is this possible? How could he know my identity? Not only did he see that he was a spy, but how did he even guess his identity? What kind of technology is this? Orochimaru screamed inwardly. But the surface is still strong, but he put on a puzzled look and said in a simple and honest tone. Little friend, did you recognize the wrong person? I'm just a fruit merchant. Everyone looked at Orochimaru's disguise and felt that he didn't look like a spy. One looked at Naruto suspiciously. Naruto, are you mistaken? How could he be Orochimaru? Orochimaru is one of the Sannin, how could he pretend to be a fruit merchant? Naruto, what is your basis? If he's Orochimaru, I'll eat all the fruit here. He looks like a simple and honest fruit merchant. How could he be that cunning and cruel Orochimaru? Did you admit the wrong person? It's not good to misunderstand others casually. Everyone talked in a hurry. Orochimaru was also extremely puzzled. His camouflage cannot be easily seen through. What is this, Naruto? Orochimaru watched intently. However, in the next second, he saw a chakra ball suddenly appear in Naruto's hand. The pupils shrank suddenly. Orochimaru immediately recognized that this was the unique ninjutsu of Namikaze Minato from the 4th generation, Rasengan. Is it true, you'll know if you hit it once? No nonsense. Simple, rough, direct. The next moment. Swish. Naruto pressed Rasengan against Orochimaru without hesitation. Swish swish swish, intense spiral Uzumaki burst out instantly. Orochimaru's disguise was immediately sucked in. Rasengan's violent destructive power is fully demonstrated. The camouflage skin that was involved was directly torn into countless pieces. Everyone was stunned by this sudden change. This Naruto. It's all good, if you don't agree with me in the future, just get on with me. Some people didn't even see that it was just Orochimaru in disguise, and thought that Naruto killed an honest fruit merchant. Naruto, why did you kill someone? You have caused a catastrophe. Ya held his head, with a frightened expression on his face. Naruto-kun, run quickly, or you will be arrested. Little Sakura is also grabbing Naruto nervously. Don't be stupid. Look at the front, that guy really seems to have a problem. Shikamaru looked serious and said while taking out his defenses. Neji and the others also noticed the situation, and all looked ahead solemnly. Not knowing why, Xiao, Sakura and others turned their heads to look, and suddenly exclaimed. Big, Orochimaru? The camouflage was broken, and Orochimaru appeared in front of everyone with his true colors. Pale skin, emaciated face. A pair of gray-yellow snake eyes looked extremely strange. And that black-orange hairstyle combined with this face makes people shudder even more. Out, appeared. This man. It's really Orochimaru. Oh my god. How could this be? It's really Orochimaru. Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, he's a traitor. Everyone be careful. Naruto can see right through it. How did he do it? I have supercilious eyes, but I didn't see it. I'm really ashamed. Everyone, don't act rashly. Orochimaru is one of the Sannin, and his strength is unfathomable. One of the legendary Sannin actually appeared, which made everyone present dumbfounded. The surrounding merchants and travelers also stayed away for fear of being affected by the battle between ninjas. Be on alert, Anbu's people will arrive soon. Kodzuki Izumo shouted nervously. But facing the legendary Sannin Orochimaru, his performance at this time is not as good as these ninja school students. Xiaoqiang all took out their weapons one by one, ready to fight, but he could only stand far behind. At this time, Orochimaru stood up slowly from the ground, feeling unbelievable and at the same time feeling scared for a while. If he hadn't acted decisively, the one who was trapped just now, I'm afraid he would be injured at least a little bit now. Cold sweat came out from behind, but there was no expression on his face. Instead, he stared at Naruto with an interested smile. That's interesting. I wonder if you could tell me, how on earth did you see through my disguise? Naruto said nothing. The others also looked at Orochimaru cautiously. Watch out for Orochimaru's every move. Orochimaru looked down at the shattered camouflage and smiled slightly. Not only is his observation ability amazing, but his strength is also so strong. You are truly worthy of being Konoha's rising star, no wonder everyone speaks so highly of you. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked his lips like a pervert. Looking at the snake-like tongue, everyone couldn't help but feel a chill. It's so disgusting. The two sides were deadlocked. But the stalemate is not good for Orochimaru. After all, this is Konoha, and he was not fully prepared. Fighting against the entire Konoha alone, he can't do it now. So, it must be done quickly. HMPH, I'll wait until I take you away to ask the extra questions. Chuckle. Orochimaru slumped to the ground and opened his mouth. In an instant, countless lion majesty sprang out of his mouth crazily. In the blink of an eye, countless lion majesty appeared above the ground. The densely packed lion majesty makes people want to commit trypophobia at first glance. Even if not, seeing so many lion majesty can't help but give goosebumps. Whether it is this vast number of lion majesties, or the way Orochimaru releases these lion majesties, it will only cause physical discomfort to the person. It's so disgusting. Hate. What is that? It's a snake. It's disgusting. Run. These are lion majesty. Back quickly. Naruto, back off. Facing the huge group of snakes, everyone on the scene fled frantically to avoid being affected. However, Naruto was unmoved, and instead gathered a huge chakra in his hand. Almost instantly, a Rasengan with a diameter of 3 meters appeared in the hand. The huge Rasengan directly obscures all of Orochimaru's sight. He stared blankly at the huge Rasengan, and his head went blank. What is this? Rasengan? Is this the Rasengan? When shocked, the lion majesty summoned by Orochimaru was sucked in by the violent spinning force of the giant Rasengan. Moment. Lion majesty turned into powder one after another, covering the ground. Even the blood is directly evaporated under the high-speed rotation. Hundreds of lion majesty were wiped out in an instant. What is this? Is this really the 4th generation purpose Rasengan? Orochimaru saw Rasengan approaching quickly and retreated frantically. The experienced man immediately felt the horror of this technique. Very dangerous. Never allow your body to touch this giant Rasengan. There will be no ashes left. While retreating crazily, Yinji immediately launched an attack. He threw out several shurikens casually. Draw an arc around the giant Rasengan and aim for Naruto behind him. Seeing this, Naruto immediately let go of the control on the giant Rasengan, and turned around to avoid Orochimaru's attack. Whoosh whoosh. The shuriken passed by, and Rasengan hit the ground directly. With a bang, a deep pit with a diameter of 10 meters was directly blasted out. You deserve to be called a shuriken. Naruto flashed his hands, and in an instant his fingers were filled with shuriken and kunai. The number directly exceeds 20. Orochimaru's heart skipped a beat. Naruto's shuriken throwing pocket is also mentioned. Same incredible. Now he has experienced Naruto's Rasengan in person. Now he can't underestimate Naruto's shuriken throwing skills. And throwing so many at one time must have a unique usage other than nonsense. Naruto certainly wasn't messing around. That means that these shurikens are hard to hide. Orochimaru's nerves tensed instantly. The next moment, whoosh whoosh, countless shurikens and kunai came towards him with piercing sound. But in the middle, they collided continuously. Orochimaru froze for a moment. Did it go wrong? Wrong. He reacted immediately. Naruto must have done it on purpose. This may be why Naruto dared to throw so many concealed throwing weapons at the same time. He found that the speed of the hidden weapons in the air collided with each other, and the speed did not decrease but increased. He couldn't even see the tracks of those hidden weapons. Suffered. Orochimaru's expression changed. A body flicker technique instantly disappears in place. Tuck 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 tuck. A large number of shurikens and kunai were inserted into the ground where Orochimaru had just stood. Orochimaru, who retreated using the body flicker technique, looked grave. His body flicker technique is fast enough, but the back of the hand was still stabbed by a shuriken. This shuriken was aimed at his heart. He subconsciously stretched out his hand to block it. Otherwise, you will not die or be seriously injured. Orochimaru's cold sweat broke out in an instant. He raised his head in fear, and was shocked to find that Naruto's figure had also disappeared. Where are you looking? The voice came from behind. Orochimaru looked back in shock and saw a pair of scarlet eyes. Moment. Orochimaru's pupils shrank. The whole person was held in place by the illusion. Subsequently, boom. A fist the size of a sandbag landed directly on Orochimaru's face, sending him flying. Orochimaru flew more than 10 meters away, even bounced a few times on the ground, like a spring. Then fell to the ground motionless. The battle started too quickly and ended too quickly. Here, the audience was dumbfounded. All the little powerhouses looked at Naruto in shock. Naruto actually won? Won the legendary Sannin Orochimaru? Naruto is already this powerful. As expected of Naruto, it's really amazing. Naruto-kun, you are so strong. This is the legendary Sannin? I feel like I can do it. Kozuki Izumo looked at Naruto stupidly. The whole person is completely dumbfounded. What do I see? This is the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru. In the end, he was defeated by a ninja school student? Am I dreaming? Shenyan Chuyue pinched his thigh. It hurts. Not a dream. This turned out to be true? After the shock, everyone came back to their senses. The Shaoqiangs immediately surrounded Naruto. Naruto, you are so powerful that even Orochimaru is not your opponent. In my opinion, Orochimaru is like that, maybe even we can't beat it. But Naruto is still very good. He saw through Orochimaru's disguise at a glance. That's right, even we, Uchiha, are ashamed of this insight. Don't forget, Naruto also has a Sharingan, and we haven't even awakened yet. Then Sasuke also drives the Sharingan. Why didn't he notice? I obviously have supercilious eyes, but I didn't realize that his pretense was really looking at my eyes. Yeah, Naruto, how on earth did you see through his disguise? This is the legendary Sannin, and it's a traitor. Naruto, you've done a great job. The Shaoqiangs were extremely excited, and Kozuki Izumo also walked over in a panic, with an extremely complicated expression on his face. Shock, fear and other emotions mixed together. Naruto, you actually defeated Orochimaru, one of the Sannin. Naruto raised his head and said with a natural expression. Yeah, isn't this what Konoha guards should do? Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 1000 involution points. Puff. A mouthful of old blood was almost spurted out. Kodzuki Izumo feels badly hurt internally. Good guy. Naruto, do you have any misunderstanding about the job of guarding? Although I did say I caught a spy once, but does that compare to Orochimaru? It's not difficult at all. Looking at Kodzuki Izumo's internal injury in puzzlement, Naruto said seriously. Guards are the outermost layer of defense for a village, and the most basic position for a village to operate safely. As you said, very important work. So, I think it is reasonable for the guards to have some combat power. It should be the basic requirement of the Konoha guards to fight off people like Orochimaru. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 1000 involution points. Puff. Finally couldn't bear it. Kodzuki Izumo spat out a mouthful of old blood. Naruto. Do you think that is a cat or a dog on the side of the road? That is the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru. Ordinary people can't go up enough to be punched by others. As for those lion majesty, I don't know how to solve it. Not everyone has your strength. Shenyan Chuyue completely stopped in Bungbu. The body was wobbly, as if it could fall down at any time. Naruto looked at Kodzuki Izumo inexplicably, and always felt that the guard Yi Ping was not particularly healthy. By the way, Naruto, shouldn't Orochimaru be sent to Grandpa third generation? At this time, Fang asked curiously. Shikamaru also held his head and said. Guys like Orochimaru must have a lot of important information. Naruto, you have really done a great job. Naruto waved his hand and said. I just did what a guard should do. How can I say that I have made great achievements? Saying this, he came to the place where Orochimaru fell. However, upon closer inspection, it was discovered that Orochimaru was still there. Only a layer of skin was left in place, just like the skin that a snake shed. The Orochimaru inside has long since disappeared. When everyone saw it, it was fried immediately. Why is it gone? Did he run away? I'm going. It's peeling off so quickly. This is too exaggerated. Sannin is worthy of being called. His ability to escape is first rate. This made him run away. Naruto must be careful of his revenge. It's okay. Orochimaru can't beat Naruto at all. Come and be defeated again? Although it's a pity to let him escape, you don't have to be depressed, Naruto, at least you stopped his plot. That's right. Although I don't know what his plan is for coming to Konoha, but you must have stopped his evil plot. By the way, this matter should be reported to Grandpa third generation? Let's go. Let's go together. A group of Shaoqiang booed wildly. Naruto stared at the snakeskin with a little surprise. On the snakeskin of Orochimaru, there is still a lot of chakra left. No wonder he was able to fool his perception system. But forget it. Orochimaru is still very useful now. If he is caught in Konoha, then his talents will not be able to be brought into play. The crowd flocked Naruto to the Hokage building. Only Kodzuki Izumo was left guarding the gate. The cool wind blew over his body, blowing his loneliness. I thought it was a group of students who could make him brag and pretend to be B. I didn't expect there was a big guy in there. It took less than an hour for Naruto to take over, and he killed an Orochimaru. Who would believe that? Hokage building, third Hokage office. Naruto stood at the door of Hokage's office at the head. Tuk tuk. After knocking on the door, the kind voice of third generation came out. Naruto pushed the door open, and a large group of people entered one by one, making the office difficult to see. Third generation was taken aback. The cigarette stick in his hand almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, he has quick eyesight and quick hands. Only then did the precious tobacco that was burning in the ashtray be kept. So it's my classmates. What's the matter with you guys coming together? Third generation is a little nervous. This is so. Shouldn't he figure out a way to fix himself again? Could it be that they didn't go to class these 2 days? Naruto and the others are coming to talk to me. Soon. Little Sakura went up and reported the situation. After listening to Little Sakura's narration, third generation's head is about to explode. What's the meaning? Naruto found Orochimaru's disguise and beat Orochimaru away? How can such a thing happen? Third generation stared at Naruto in shock. He is a bit confused about Naruto's strength now. Before Naruto defeated Chio, it was because he had an outrageous speed ninjutsu and had an advantage. But Orochimaru. That is a person that even he himself may not be able to defeat. That is the apprentice he taught himself, and he is also a genius. This Orochimaru guy should have some sort of special purpose. That's why I didn't try my best. Think about it this way. Third generation felt acceptable. He guessed that Orochimaru was only here to investigate, not to cause trouble. That's why it slipped away so quickly. Otherwise, Konoha would trigger a fight, and if other people were to intervene, he would be difficult to deal with. Okay, I see, because the house is quiet. Third generation stretched out his hand and pressed down again and again, and everyone stopped talking about it. Nodding in satisfaction. The third generation looked at Naruto kindly, and said with a smile. Naruto did a great job this time. Although things happened in a hurry, Grandpa Hokage was not ready. But beating Orochimaru, that's quite a feat. Grandpa Hokage will reward you with a barbecue. Today, I will take this opportunity to invite everyone to have a barbecue together, so that everyone can supplement the nutrition of the body. Hear the generous preaching of the third generation. A group of communities immediately applauded loudly. Grandpa third generation, you're doing well. Thanks to Naruto. I can eat yakiniku, ha ha ha. I took Naruto's light today. And Orochimaru's, hurry up. Go now, don't waste time. A large group of people rushed into the barbecue restaurant like locusts crossing the border. As for the third generation, they shook their heads sighingly and followed behind. It's true that the back waves of the Yangtze River pushed the front waves, and the front waves died on the beach. I didn't expect Konoha's former genius to be so unbearable in front of Konoha's current genius. Secret cave base. Orochimaru sat in a chair in shock. Hanging beside him carefully healed his wound. Do lowered his eyebrows and was pleasing to the eye, not daring to say anything more. For fear of angering the moody Orochimaru. But judging from Orochimaru's state, he must have been deflated in Naruto's hands. This made him even more afraid to speak. At this time, Orochimaru's mind was completely muddled. Naruto's performance really exceeded his expectations. Rasengan? Shuriken? Sharingan? At first Orochimaru couldn't believe Naruto's moves. But he saw it with his own eyes. He couldn't help but not believe it. When did a ninja school student become so powerful? Could it be that he, the legendary ninja, is outdated? No. I used to be a genius too. It's just that I have been obsessed with scientific experiments recently, so it seems that my strength has not improved. If I pick it up and practice it, even if it's Naruto, I'll still show it to him. Struggling with his body, Orochimaru stood up with difficulty. Master Orochimaru, your injury is not as good as 173, you can't. Do nervously persuaded. But at this moment, Orochimaru's face was serious, and he let the sweat drip down his cheeks. It seems that I haven't practiced for too long. That's why I suffered at the hands of that kid. In order to get that body, I can't just do experiments. From now on, I have to strengthen my strength. Ding. Involvement successful. You have forced Orochimaru to start involution and obtained 100,000 involution points. After a day of practice. After dinner at Ichiraku Ramen, Naruto headed home. This time, he is going to draw a lottery. Because of the inner circle value contributed by Kakashi and Might Guy, as well as Orochimaru. He has accumulated a lot now. I don't know what rewards I can get this time. System. Song Award. Command in your head. The system's roulette suddenly spun rapidly. 3 seconds later. The pointer stops. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the light and heavy rock technique. Note. You can achieve the purpose of flying and accelerating by reducing your own weight. Flying ninjutsu? Naruto frowned. This description is deceptively simple. But often it is this simple ability that can express the extraordinary. It's like a card called a black hole in a dueling card game. A simple description, but intuitively shows its power. And the same is true for this light and heavy rock technique. In the entire ninja world, there are only a handful of people who can fly. In Naruto's impression. Except for the ninjas who use props to fly like Kong Ninja, There are only the current Tsuchikage Onogi, and his granddaughter, Leg Black King. There is also Deidara, but he uses the clay bird to fly, similar to Kong Nin. As for the benefits of flying, there is no need to go into too much detail. Mobility, reconnaissance, surprise attack, air superiority, etc. The benefits are simply too many. There is no end to it all at once. Naruto is well aware of the importance of light and heavy rock technique. So he immediately conveyed this new task to the Avatar Brigade. Open book. On the border of the Land of Fire, in front of a remote waterfall somewhere. A group of Narutos in the open space are practicing various abilities. Chakra, Sharingan, Gentle Fist, Demolition, Dodge. The list goes on and on. When a capability has encountered a bottleneck and cannot be broken through for a long time, the clones will spontaneously disperse to practice other abilities. Because reaching that level already shows that the ability of cultivation has reached a very high level. In the case of no urgency, there is no need to continue to upgrade and forcibly upgrade. This is undoubtedly a waste of manpower. After all, there are many other abilities that have not reached their limits. Come on and practice. Don't stop. There are 24 hours in a day. Eating, going to the toilet and resting for 8 hours is enough. The rest of the time is used to become stronger. After this period of introversion, a group of clones became more and more involuntary. And at this moment, the avatars suddenly paused. The message from Naruto reached the minds of all clones. They all stopped, then turned to look at a boulder by the waterfall. Really? The three sub-captains have gathered together. Captain number 1 looked at number 2 and number 3. The mission this time is light and heavy rock technique. What do you two think? Said number 2. Is it the light and heavy rock technique that Onogi knows? Number 1 nodded, affirming number 2's guess. 3 immediately became excited. Can we fly? Number 1 smiled and nodded, then said seriously. Don't get too excited. Don't you remember Onogi's flying speed? It's just floating, just like a balloon, with no speed at all. Number 3 said without thinking. Then let's practice, anyway, isn't that what our mission is? Number 2 nodded slowly. Yes, the direction of flying ninjutsu is relatively simple, which is speed. All problems are not a problem in front of speed. As long as our speed is fast enough, neither ninjutsu nor traps can catch up. That is naturally invincible, number 1 asked curiously. If you want to achieve that speed, what level of training do you think is more appropriate? Number 2 suddenly fell silent. He was looking for a better reference. Certainly. The speed must not be slow, number 3 said at this time. Didn't we say when we practiced blasting that we should use missiles to precisely guide all enemies in the entire ninja world? How about practicing the speed of a missile? Number 2 shook his head slowly and said, You're so naive, number 3. Even before the missile, there is a speed difference. Number 3 said immediately. Then just practice according to the fastest speed, and think so much about what to do. Number 1 looks at number 2. The fastest missile, which one do you remember? Number 2 said with a dignified face. The fastest I can remember was over Mach 20, which is 6,800 meters per second. Number 1 was shocked. So fast? Isn't it possible to fly from the Land of Fire to the Land of Thunder in a few minutes? Number 2 rolled his eyes. Are you going to practice or not? Number 1. Afterwards, his expression became ruthless. Of course we have to practice. That's it. Our speed unit is Mach. Number 3 immediately picked up Shioji. Okay, practice. Soon, the Avatar Brigade set a training goal. And their thoughts were also sent back to Naruto. Hearing the goals set by the avatars, even Naruto, who was as calm as he was, had to complain. Good guy, Nima is faster than Ultraman at this speed. Is this the rhythm of turning into a light? Naruto shook his head, not wanting to. The avatars can do whatever they like. Anyway, the more they roll, the more abilities they get. The next day, it was still dark. Naruto's biological clock made him open his eyes on time. He got dressed and walked out the door. Let me see how far I have practiced. As soon as the mind moves, the chakra in the body is activated. Subsequently, gravity seemed to lose its grip on him. The whole person slowly rose into the sky. You have already practiced to this extent? Naruto sighed silently. It really deserves to be the strongest plugin. In one night, he had already mastered the ability to fly. After reaching about 100 meters into the air, Naruto randomly chose a direction. Then, suddenly accelerated. Whoosh! Naruto is like a small plane, flying far away in one go. Watching the forest below quickly pass by, it perfectly embodies the sense of speed. Feel it carefully. The current speed is about 100 kilometers per hour. About as fast as a high-speed car. Although it was still far from the target speed, it was already much faster than Onoki's speed. It's really amazing. It seems that I have to work harder. Naruto's fighting spirit suddenly burned. The avatars are all working so hard, how can I be left behind? Although I only have one person, it is far inferior to the efficiency of clones. But the accumulation of less makes more, even if it is only my accumulation. As time goes by, it will eventually undergo a qualitative change. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. He ignored the system beep. Naruto worked hard to increase the speed. Before I knew it, I had reached the scope of the country of Konoha village. Land of Earth. Heffing, fire, thunder, and water are one of the 5 great kingdoms. Land of Earth was established by first Tsuchikage Shihei, and has tailed beasts 4 tails and 5 tails. The village is surrounded by rocky mountains and has strong defenses. Although the overall strength and economy of the Land of Earth is stronger than that of the Land of Wind. But the environment of the Land of Earth is not much better than that of the Land of Wind. Most of the land is wasteland. Iwagakure, in particular, sits directly on the edge of a gorge. On both sides are steep rocky cliffs. At this time, over Iwagakure, a nimble and petite figure is constantly flying. The gravity that binds all beings seems to have no effect on her. She is like an elf dancing in the air. Fantastic. On top of the Tsuchikage building, Onoki and Wangtu looked at the figure dotingly, showing satisfied smiles. That is their precious granddaughter and precious daughter, Iwagakure's daughter of heaven, Kuroto. Yes, if you can fly so freely at this age, you will definitely be able to surpass me, an old guy, in the future. Onoki looked at Haitu's figure and couldn't help admiring it again and again. Huang too showed a simple and honest smile, looking at his precious daughter with satisfaction. The qualifications of the black soil are indeed very good. And she doesn't look like me, like her mother. Thinking of this, Onoki was very pleased. The black soil in the sky immediately circled proudly when he heard the evaluation of the two. Look at me. Then she flew towards the direction outside the village suddenly. Etc. Lois shouted anxiously. It's too dangerous for you to go out now. That anxious look, as if there are some scourges outside. Onoki couldn't understand his son's appearance, and said with disgust. Wangtu. What are you worried about? This is our Iwagakure territory, and the black soil must have a sense of proportion. She won't go very far. Huang too sighed and scratched his head helplessly. Ever since he got the black soil, his status in his father's eyes has dropped rapidly like a parachute jump. That's really not as good as the next day. He felt that appearing in front of his father seemed to be a crime. After all, compared with Haitu's appearance, I am too hip. However, even though he was worried about the black soil, the old man said so. He can't say much, and as Onoki said, this is Iwagakure's territory. It's impossible for something to happen. Picking up speed, one Luffy out Iwagakure. Seeing that no one was chasing after him, Haitu stuck out his tongue cutely. She knew that it must be her grandfather who dissuaded her father. Otherwise, the worried father would definitely not rest assured that she would come out alone. There is no old man who likes to think about it. She can go about her day with whatever she wants again. So, she speeded up again. Whoosh, flying through the jungle, it stirred up a cloud of flying birds. Seeing them screaming in panic, she couldn't help but smile happily. Ha ha ha. Let's play together. She flew to the side of the bird. Want to play with them? But the bird saw that such a big living person like her was able to fly, and almost suffered a cardiac arrest from fright. Quickly speeding up and flapping its wings, it flew away from her. Ah, the flying bird's speed should be faster. Seeing the birds flying far away, Kuroda was a little hesitant. The speed of their flying ninjutsu in the Land of Earth is actually not fast, only tens of kilometers per hour. Compared with birds and insects, which can fly in the sky, it is still far behind. But for human beings, being able to soar in the sky is already very satisfying. After flying for a while, she stopped with satisfaction. I'm really a genius. I've practiced to 40 kilometers per hour. Turn harder, and the dog will fly with the birds. Haitu thought beautifully, but at this moment. Okay. She frowned suddenly. Because, she saw a black spot in the sky in the distance, and it was gradually getting bigger. Is that a bird? Is it an eagle? Or something else? The speed seems to be very fast. That's right, the speed of the birds is fast. Even Grandpa can barely fly beside them. The speed is also very good. Huh? Haitu's voice stopped abruptly, and his eyes widened suddenly. Because, as the black dot gradually approached, she sees clearly. Is that actually a person? A boy with blonde hair and black clothes, flying through the sky at an exaggerated speed. What's the situation? Who is this guy? Why is he so fast? This speed is more than twice as fast as mine. Seeing that boy's speed, he couldn't even catch up with those birds. Haitu was terrified. This is too exaggerated. Why so fast? Who is he? Could it be the master hidden in the village? But he doesn't like the people in the village at all in his clothes. Haitu's heart was full of shock and doubt at this moment. Until that figure swished past her head, she woke up suddenly. Alas. Wait a minute. She reached out her hand in vain, but the other party didn't seem to hear it at all. In the blink of an eye, the figure had already moved hundreds of meters away. Damn it, you ignore me, I must know why you can fly so fast. Gritting his teeth, Haitu immediately moved forward at full speed. The wind howled and slapped on the face. Black soil even felt a little short of breathing. But what made her despair? She has come up with the fastest speed. But can't keep up. I can only watch that person turn into a black spot and gradually disappear from the field of vision. My God. How could he be so fast? Who the hell is this guy? Wait for me. Flying happily for several hours. Even after the sun has risen overhead, Naruto stopped feeling relieved. Unlike the body flicker technique, which is similar to teleportation, this time he really felt the stimulation of speed. The feeling of the wind whistling past his ears, and the perspective of overlooking all living beings, made his whole body involuntarily excited. This is flying. It's so cool. Naruto feels like stepping on the accelerator and racing like crazy on a deserted plain. And that's just 100 kilometers per hour. Wait until the speed increases later. I'm afraid it will be more refreshing. With the help of light and heavy rock technique, Naruto rested on a branch at the top of the tree. At this time, his weight is lighter than the leaves of the trees, and he can do the movements like the master Fage in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's it. Hey, you, stop flying. Just stop there, don't go. A breathless cry came from behind. Frowning and turning his head in doubt, Naruto saw a familiar person. Black hair, cute face, a pair of snow-white long legs exposed outside. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the granddaughter of Tsuchikage Onogi, the future 4th generation's leg shadow, Kuroto. It turns out that I have already flown to the land of Earth. Only then did Naruto understand the direction he was flying from. What a coincidence. I just learned the light and heavy rock technique, and flew to Iwagakure for the first test flight. Waited for a while. Haitu flew in front of him, propped his hands on his knees, panting heavily. She looked at Naruto and said out of breath, "How did you fly so fast?" "I chased for 200 kilometers to catch up with you." Naruto asked suspiciously, "Is this considered fast? Isn't this just normal slow speed?" Haitu was taken aback for a moment, and then his sweaty face was full of shock and disbelief. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Isn't that fast? Even those birds can't fly you. Black Earth shouted in shock. How the hell did you do it? Wrong. Who the hell are you? Why do you use heavy rock technique? Naruto said. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and I am from Konoha village. As for the light and heavy rock technique, I learned it by myself yesterday. Hear this. Haitu was dumbfounded again. Self-study? Is this something self-taught? This is too exaggerated. You must know that the black soil learned this technique, and it took a long time to learn it. How can anyone teach themselves and learn it in a day? And she can fly faster than someone who has practiced 713 for several years. Hey, are you kidding me? Black Earth swallowed in fear. Naruto looked a few years younger than her. Flying so fast unexpectedly filled her with a sense of frustration. No kidding, didn't you see that I was flying? Naruto calmed down. How on earth did you do it? Why can you fly so fast? That's simply not human speed. He too struggled for a moment, and asked directly when he couldn't figure it out. Just practice more. The more you practice, the faster you will be. Hearing Naruto say it so easily, black lines suddenly appeared on Haitu's face. Good guy. Just practice more. Didn't you just say that you only learned it yesterday? Time of day. You can contact the time in 1 day faster than me, a personal trainee who has practiced for 2.5 years? This is too much nonsense. Here. Black Earth was hit. Seeing Naruto's serious face, he didn't seem like a liar, and she felt even more uncomfortable. She has been growing up with Onoki's praise. I always thought I was a genius. Now, she seems to have met a real one. Only then did I discover that there is also a huge and incomparably huge gap between geniuses and geniuses. Was that your fastest speed just now? How fast can you fly? Facing the problem of black soil, Naruto couldn't help but drag his chin and thought about it. After several hours of flying practice, the progress cannot be said to be doubled, but there is progress. But because I still have 3,000 tool people who are practicing crazily, the speed may change in 10 minutes. So he said modestly. Now, the speed is about 100 kilometers per hour. 100 kilometers. Or so. Crack. This answer was like a bolt from the blue, exploding in Haitu's ears. She was completely dumbfounded. 100 kilometers per hour. More than twice her size. No wonder I was so out of breath that I still couldn't catch up. This speed is really too pervert. Haitu felt that his eyes were dark. Compared with him, what kind of genius is he? Naruto frowned and looked at the black earth with a cloudy face. Well, I should go back to dinner. Let's talk again when you have time. In black earth shock, Naruto shrugged, rose into the sky, and then flew in the opposite direction with an acceleration. Haitu was taken aback, and stared blankly at Naruto flying away. She just came back to her senses. This guy, who the hell is he? Land of the Earth, Iwagakure, on the dining table of the Onoki family. Onoki and Wangtu couldn't help but look at each other. They looked at Haitu, who had been sullen after coming back from the outside, and their hearts were full of doubts. He looked very happy when he went out today. Why did it wilt as soon as I came back, like an eggplant beaten by frost? Not only them, but the high-level people who had dinner together also looked at Hei Wang worriedly. After all, Kuroto is the genius girl and the next Tsuchikage heir in their hearts. It would be bad if this went wrong. Granddaughter, what's the matter? Why are you so depressed? Is the food not tasty? Onoki asked worriedly. Huang Tu also looked at his daughter and said, Hey Tu, why are you frowning? Did something go wrong in your cultivation? Snapped. Onoki patted Wangtu's head dissatisfied, and said with a frown. What nonsense are you talking about? My good granddaughter has such a talent, how could something go wrong? Huang Tu suddenly looked at his father with a grieved face. The intergenerational relationship was really carried out by his father to the fullest. After having a granddaughter, he wished that his son would disappear. But at this time, Haitu couldn't listen to what the two said, and the image of Naruto was still playing in her mind. That exaggerated speed, the figure that cannot be chased. Simply, like a miracle, Haitu didn't move while holding the dinner. After being silent for a full half a minute, he suddenly moved in his heart and looked up at Grandpa Onoki. By the way, Grandpa, I have a question to ask you. How fast can you fly? When Onoki heard this, he said proudly, 70 kilometers per hour. Afterwards, he said in a helpless but flamboyant tone. Well, it's also my grandfather who is old. If he was young, he would easily break through 80 kilometers, and even reach 90 kilometers at the fastest. It's old now, not so much, a consultant said suddenly. 70 kilometers per hour is already fast, Even some birds are not as fast as you. Another servant said in agreement. That's right, at your speed, no one can escape at all. Another servant said. Tsuchikage-sama is naturally different, not only has outstanding talent, but also is very hardworking, which is why he was able to achieve such a speed that ordinary people cannot match. Master Tsuchikage's hard work really makes me admire. Everyone's praise made Onogi's nose even more rosy. He floated up, came to the side of Haito with his head hanging down, and patted her shoulder lovingly. Good granddaughter, don't worry about it, just work hard to cultivate. With your talent, it will be a matter of time before you surpass your grandfather, and Iwagakure will depend on you when the time comes. Don't be depressed. Onoki felt very relaxed at the moment. Because when he heard Haito ask this question, he subconsciously thought that Haito had found out about his flying speed, and felt that he was not as good as him. That's why he was so depressed today. But with a few words of comfort, Haito immediately raised his head and said solemnly. I'm not depressed, I don't need Anchung. It's just that what happened when I was practicing outside today is too unimaginable. Hear this. Everyone frowned, and their curiosity was immediately aroused by the Black King. They all focused their attention on the black soil. Onoki said puzzled. Unbelievable thing. What happened? Huang too also frowned. What's the situation? Is there something wrong with your flying technique? Haito looked around, shook his head, and then said slowly. No, I met a Konoha shinobi who can know the light and heavy rock technique. But the most important thing is that he can fly 100 kilometers in an hour. Hear this. The whole dinner table. First there was a moment of silence. Then. Everyone was in an uproar. Wow. All the people present widened their eyes and looked shocked. Unbelievable looking at the black soil. No, isn't it? 100 kilometers? Is there a mistake? How is it possible? Even Mr. Onogi can only fly 70 kilometers per hour. How can someone be faster than Mr. Onogi? Hey too, you misread it. That's right, it's impossible. A Konoha shinobi can fly faster than Master Tsuchikage? This is too ridiculous. A group of people were surprised. Some people even wondered if the black soil was vertigo. But doubts were quickly dispelled. They are all elders who grew up watching the black soil. Although black soil is naughty, he will never lie about this kind of thing. So, is what she said true? Everyone's eyes turned to Onoki immediately. Onoki also looked surprised at this time, but after seeing Haito's serious expression, his doubts were dispelled, and the surprise in his heart turned into shock. He asked hastily. Black Earth, you saw that ninja, how old is he? How did he learn the light and heavy rock technique? How long did he learn it? Are you sure he is using the light and heavy rock technique? A series of questions were thrown by Onoki, facing many questions from his grandfather Onoki. Black Soil explained in detail, he looks a few years younger than me. He said he was self-taught. He said he only learned the light and heavy rock technique yesterday. I'm sure, I saw it with my own eyes. And I chased him for more than 200 kilometers before catching up. Facts were thrown to the faces of everyone present. It's okay if you don't ask, but if you ask, people will be even more confused. A Konoha ninja, who is younger than Kuroto, can fly faster than the shadow after only one day of learning. All these factors softened together. Only one thought came to their minds. This is impossible. Their common sense keeps reminding them in their minds. This is absolutely impossible. Haito, it seems that you are too tired today, go to rest early. Onoki patted Kuroto on the shoulder. Just now he believed Haito's words a little bit, but now that this series of circumstances were thrown out, he only felt that Haito might be too tired and had hallucinations. Otherwise. What a fool. A kid who has only studied for one day, and the flying speed exceeds 100 kilometers per hour. This TM joke is not made like this. Night. After Haito returned home, he simply took a shower and locked himself in the room. Lying on the bed, Haito tossed and turned sleeplessly. I kept thinking about what happened today in my mind. Thinking about Naruto. That guy, how did he do it? How can anyone fly so fast? Could it be that the ninjutsu he uses is not the same as mine? But there's no reason. Grandpa clearly said that light and heavy rock technique is the fastest flying ninjutsu. And as far as I know, there seems to be no other ninjutsu in the entire ninja world that can fly 3. Oh, It's really hard to understand. If I knew it during the day, I would have asked clearly. Black Earth's thoughts were in a mess, unconsciously. The sky outside has already begun to brighten up. Haitu thought about it all night and didn't fall asleep. Forget it. I can't sleep anyway, so let's continue training. As Haitu said, he turned over and got out of bed. Even an outsider can practice light and heavy rock technique to this level. I am a direct descendant of my grandfather. How could I lose to outsiders? I must continue to work hard, and I must not let outsiders underestimate our rock shinobi ninjas. Ding. The involution is successful. You have forced the black soil to start involution, and you have obtained 1000 involution points. At this time, Konoha village, Naruto's home. I was urging my clone to cook Naruto, a glutinous rice egg, when I suddenly heard a system prompt. What's the situation? How did the black soil start to roll? Naruto thought for a while and then he understood that it might be that Haitu couldn't sit still when he saw that he was flying too fast yesterday. Start forcing yourself to follow the training. Seeing that Haitu started training so early, how could Naruto sit still? Even black soil is so diligent, how can I admit defeat? Today we have to drive at full speed, let's practice. Ding. Involvement successful. You have obtained 100 involution points. Ignored the system prompt. Naruto flew straight out of the room. The speed increased suddenly, and it disappeared into the sky in a short while. Land of the land, Iwagakure frontier. At this time, the sun has slowly risen, spreading warm sunlight on the earth. A small and graceful figure stayed in the sky. The sun shone on her body, making those beads of sweat shine brightly. From a distance, she looks like a goddess descending from the sky, so divine. But in fact, Haitu practiced for several hours, was drenched in sweat, and was resting. So, I finally made some progress. Haitu wiped the sweat from Zhao's forehead. His face was rosy and he sighed with emotion. After a morning of practice, her hard work has paid off. The flight speed has increased by about 100 meters. Although there is still a big gap with Naruto. But progress is a good thing, at least, she is trying to shorten the distance between the two. Just wait and see, Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha, the future is still long. As the granddaughter of Grandpa Onogi, I will surpass you sooner or later. Haitu thought beautifully. Already imagining myself flying in front of Naruto and throwing him behind his butt. But at this moment, a fine whistling sound suddenly came from a distance. Haitu turned his head and squinted his eyes. I only saw a black spot approaching quickly in the distance. As that? A bird? It's so fast. Haitu sighed silently. When will I be as fast as you? Haitu's eyes were full of reverence. It has been her dream since she was a child to be able to fly and play freely in the sky with the birds. But as the shadow gradually approached, she found that something seemed wrong. Wait. That seems not a bird. That's OMG. That's Naruto. Haitu's eyes widened in shock, eyes full of disbelief. Because Naruto's speed is much faster than yesterday's. Whoosh. Naruto roared past 100 meters above her head. Although it is only a visual inspection, it is not very accurate. But Haitu can be sure that this speed is at least half of what it was yesterday. But how is this possible? Obviously only a day has passed. How could the speed increase so much directly? Black Earth couldn't believe it. That the fact happened before my eyes. She couldn't believe it had happened. It will not change with her will. Damn. I must find out how you practiced today. Why is the promotion so fast? Regardless of his tired body, Haitu gritted his teeth and chased after him. But as she chased him, she realized that Naruto was faster than she had guessed. It is too fast. Can't even smell the exhaust. If it weren't for Naruto not going straight, but turning from time to time to test the flexibility. She has long since lost sight of Naruto's heels. Damn, it's too fast. Black Earth's heart was full of despair. Her tired body kept sending signals to her. But her pride of being Tsuchikage's granddaughter sustains her, making her persevere with great perseverance. Unconsciously, the sun rose to its highest point and began to slowly set again. Finally, After flying for 5 hours, Black Earth caught up with Naruto, who had stopped to rest. Who? PH. 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 Haitu was as tired as a dog, panting with his tongue out. Although it looks cute, it also looks very embarrassing. Sweat-soaked hair clung to her cheeks and forehead, giving her a scruffy look. The whole person was soaked in sweat directly. She gasped. It didn't slow down for most of the day. Naruto waited patiently. He didn't even know where he got a cup of mountain spring water and handed it to Haitu. Thanks. Haitu thanked with a hoarse voice, and then suffocated the cool spring water 913 in one gulp. Haitu finally felt alive. Just now her throat was so dry that she almost thought she was going to die. The voice was completely hoarse. The body loses too much water. Then, she came to her senses and stared at the water glass with her eyes wide open. Then looked at Naruto in disbelief. Where did you get the water? Naruto said. I saw mountain spring water on the road, which looked quite clear, so I got some. Black Soil was even more confused. But you don't look like you want to drink water? Naruto explained. This is for you, and it's been a long time since I've been chasing you. There was a hint of sweetness in Haitu's heart. But it was quickly covered up by resentment. Okay. I want to chase after death. In the end, you found out early and didn't stop to wait for me? Wouldn't it be better if you had the spare time to find some mountain spring water and wait for me right there? Are you playing me like a monkey? Although his heart was full of resentment, Naruto kindly prepared water for her anyway. She didn't have much to say. Thinking of the purpose of catching up, she asked hastily. Your speed is much faster than yesterday. How much is it now? Also, how do you practice? Black Soil asked after taking a few mouthfuls of spring water. Naruto said honestly. Today is indeed a little faster than yesterday, and now the speed is about 180 kilometers per hour. Puff. Hear this. The Black Earth sprayed out a mouthful of water on the spot. A little bit? You call that a little bit? I've worked so hard to raise the dish by 100 meters? You actually doubled my old lady's top speed all of a sudden? Even call it a little bit? Are you a little misunderstood about speed? However, she hadn't waited for the shock to end. Then I saw Naruto frowned and said, it still doesn't work, it's just improved. It's still a long way from my goal. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 1000 involution points. Ding. Involution is successful. You have obtained 1000 involution points. Haitu was dumbfounded again. How fast are you going to fly? What are you flying so fast for? Want to fly to the sky side by side with the sun? Naruto saw that her condition had almost recovered, so he said, it's getting late, I have to go back to eat. What? Are you leaving again? Haitu looked at the sky belatedly. Only then did she realize that it was morning and afternoon. She obviously didn't even eat breakfast and lunch. Big loss. Hey. Wait, I still have nothing to say. How do you practice? Haitu didn't wait for him to ask. Boom. A hurricane hit Haitu's face straight, almost blowing her away. As soon as Haitu came back to her senses, Naruto had already disappeared from her sight. Moreover, I don't know if it is her illusion. She feels that Naruto's speed seems to be faster than before. How did this guy run so fast? I haven't even asked yet. How did he cultivate? Black Soil looked into the distance. I was about to cry immediately. In order to chase Naruto, I flew for 3 hours. Go back now, another 3 hours. The legs are going to be useless. Iwagakure. It was already dark. When Haitu returned home exhausted, the dinner had just begun. Haitu, why did you come back now? It's getting dark. Huang Tu asked with a worried face. Haitu was out of breath, slumped on the chair, and spoke after a while. I met Uzumaki Naruto again today. Uzumaki Naruto? Who is that? Onoki flew over. It's the flying boy I met yesterday. Black Soil's tone was excited. His speed is faster, even reaching 180 kilometers per hour. Hear this. Huang Tu's eyes widened in shock. But Onoki floated over calmly and patted Haitu's little head. Good granddaughter, don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you have any troubles, you have to speak out, and you must not hold it in your heart, otherwise things will happen. Haitu was dumbfounded. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Trouble? Where am I worrying? Compared with the Black Land, I am surprised. When the others heard Onoki's words, they were stunned. Out of trust in the black soil before, they didn't think too much. But when he thought about it by himself, he knew that what Haito said was absolutely impossible. He must have seen hallucinations. Where did the boy who can fly come from, and he still has a speed of 180 per hour? It must be that the black soil is too tired, and he is hallucinating. Think so. The family members couldn't help but look at Haito with worried eyes and comforted him. Little Haito, Master Tsuchikage is right, don't feel pressured. Stress is really the best medicine for rapid improvement sometimes, but too much pressure can be overwhelming. If you have anything to discuss with Master Tsuchikage, don't hold it in your heart. Don't be surprised to see some strange hallucinations. Be sure to see a doctor in time. Is there something uncomfortable? If there is something wrong with your body, don't take it seriously. Seeing the caring eyes of a group of people, Wang's head was full of black lines. What are you all talking about? I am clearly talking to you very seriously. In the end, everyone thought they were talking nonsense? I didn't talk nonsense. I really meant. That's 180 per hour. Wangtu shook his head and looked at Onoki worriedly. Father, do you think this is a symptom of an illusion? Hey. It's true what I said, Haito yelled and was so angry that he didn't even eat his food. Directly ran out. This, everyone looked at Onoki. Then I saw Onogi's headache-stricken expression. Forget it, let her be alone for a while. It may be because she has encountered a bottleneck in her cultivation recently and her mind is too chaotic. Go home. Haito jumped directly onto the bed. I feel very wronged in my heart. Obviously she is so serious. Post thought she was talking nonsense. How could that be an illusion? She just can't believe it. Forget it. Sleep. Close your eyes and force yourself to sleep. But after closing his eyes, all that came to mind was Naruto. With that terrifying speed, the sound of piercing the air. No matter what. Again tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Grunt in bed for hours. Black soil sat up all of a sudden. Damn. Can't sleep. She turned to look at the clock. It was already 11 o'clock in the evening. Normally, she would have already fallen asleep. Maybe she was dreaming. No. Haito hammered his thigh angrily. It has been like this, how can it surpass Naruto? I'm going to keep practicing, until I surpass Naruto. With that said, Haito put on his clothes, net socks, put on sandals, opened the window and flew out. Practice. Keep practicing. And at the same time. Ding. Involution succeeded. You have forced black soil to involve successfully, and you have obtained 2,000 involution points. Naruto, who was meditating at home, opened his eyes blankly. This. When a person sits at home, does introversion come from heaven? But after thinking for a moment, he understood. The black soil was rolled up by him. Don't sleep at night, start practicing. Miss Haito is so diligent, how can I be compared to her? Moment. The blankness in the eyes disappeared, and the seriousness rose. Get up. Push open the door and leave. Naruto disappeared into the air with a whoosh. In the night sky, the bright moon hangs high. No cloud to cover, and the light shines down. Let the whole world be covered with a hazy silver shirt. Under the night sky, a figure scurried back and forth quickly. The figure is slender, and the dancing figure is graceful. Like a night elf that haunts the night. Ha ha ha. It was already 2 o'clock in the morning, and Haito had practiced for 3 full hours, and a huge fatigue reaction appeared on her body, which made her pinch her waist and let out a sigh of relief. Damn, really, I'm really tired. I'm going to lie down for a while. Haito found a tree to sit down and rest, looking up at the beautiful night view. Beside the bright full moon, little stars twinkle. Most of the Xingxing are covered by the brilliance of the full moon. Only these few brightest Xingxing can emit a stubborn light. She was only held by Onogi when she was a child and saw the beautiful night scene like the Milky Way cascading down the ground. Since then, she has rarely seen night scenes. Although I didn't see the stars shining today. But such a perfect full moon is also enough to satisfy people. It's so beautiful. She was intoxicated and let out a sigh from the bottom of her heart. Although it is very tiring, it is worth it to see this scenery. Haito was immersed in the night beautifully. At this moment, she felt like an elf in this forest, in harmony with nature, with heaven and earth. However, at this time, just when everything is lonely and the night is dark, whoosh! A black shadow, suddenly under the shadow of the huge moon, the sun flashed away. Black soil blinked. Just. What happened? She looked around, but couldn't find anything. Did I read it wrong, or is it a bird? Black Earth didn't care. It's night after all, it doesn't look very real. Continue to enjoy the night view, and at the same time recover your strength. It didn't take long, however. Call out. Another black shadow flew across the sky in front of her eyes. Now she was a little confused. For the first time, I can say that I was wrong. But this is the second time. And the most important thing is, when she looked at that black shadow, she felt a little familiar. Etc. Could it be? Haito slowly widened his eyes. He stared at the sky stubbornly. Since I've been here twice, I'm sure I'll be back for a third time. As expected. Under her fixed gaze, it flew over her head for the third time. Although the speed is too fast, she still didn't fully see it. But she could clearly see the outline of that black shadow. Like a figure. And a very familiar figure. I've seen it a few times myself. Is it really him? Black Earth began to panic. She couldn't sit still. He flew directly into the air, and chased after the direction where the shadow flew. Don't wait a moment. She met the black shadow that turned back and flew back. Seeing her, Sombra also stopped. At this time, the moonlight shone on the black shadow, dispelling the darkness from his body. Haito saw it, and was shocked to find that it was really Naruto. You. Black soil is completely confused. The eyes are wide open, and the small mouth has grown into a circle. Pointing at Naruto, speechless for a long time. After a while, she stammered a bit. You, what are you doing at night? Practice. Naruto replied flatly. Practice. You don't sleep well at night, why come out to practice? Black soil is extremely frantic in his heart. Originally, she found a person who was even more talented than her, so she decided to surpass him through extraordinary efforts. In the end, she found that this genius actually worked harder than her. I do not sleep to practice. Naruto does not sleep to practice. You really don't give people a way to live. Facing the question of the black soil, Naruto looked at her lightly and said, aren't you the same? Your clothes seem to be wet with sweat, you probably just finished practicing. Since you are so diligent, how can I slack off? Haito's shocked expression gradually subsided. The whole person becomes numb. Good guy. Compared to what? It can't be compared at all. Why is this person so serious? I practice because I am weak and completely different from you. You are such a genius, why are you working so hard? Although my heart is about to collapse. But Black Soil is still very curious about one thing. You. How fast are you now? This is her only doubt right now. During the day it was 180. Now at night, how much improvement will there be? Naruto said. 240, numb. The Black Soil is completely numb. It's only been one night, not even a day. The result has improved so much. Is this something a human can do? No. Uzumaki Naruto is no longer human in her eyes. But monsters. Only unreasonable monsters fit his situation. Beyond the scope of human beings. If it's okay, I'll go first, and be careful not to catch a cold. Naruto waved his hand, and went on. Whoosh. An extremely fast explosion sounded, and the person disappeared directly into the air. Tsuchikage building. In the office. Onoki, who is short in stature, is burying his head and concentrating on his official duties. Normally, he would have already dealt with this bit of official business. But recently, he has been a little restless. As for the reason, it was naturally his precious granddaughter. Thinking of this, Onoki couldn't help but stop what he was doing and sighed. I don't know what stimulated that girl Haito. Been talking nonsense for days. Anyone flying faster than 200 kilometers per hour? And still a kid? These words, Onoki did not believe even a single punctuation mark. How could something like that happen? It must be that I usually put too much pressure on her, so she has to make up some lies to reduce her own pressure. Thinking of this, Onogi felt a burst of guilt. If it weren't for Huang Tu being too ugly and worthless, he would be a little bit embarrassed, and that brat Didera defected. He also wouldn't pin all his hopes on black soil. It seems that this heavy love has given Haitu a heavy pressure that does not belong to her age. Let her start to say some crazy words. Hey! What happened to you, Haitu? What happened to you? Just when Onoki was so worried that he couldn't even handle official business. Boom. After 2 knocks on the door, Wang Tu came to the office. Huang Tu's face was heavy. Looking up and seeing his face, Yinyamu's face also darkened. She went out again? Wang Tu nodded slowly. Yes, my lord father. Onoki sighed deeply. Recently, the black soil has been seeing no one day by day. Go out early in the morning before dawn. So I came back to have a meal at night, and disappeared after eating. Day by day, the dark circles under the eyes drooped, and the mental state of the whole person was really worrying. After thinking for a few seconds, Inaki's expression changed. No, we can't let her do whatever she wants. I have to check it out. Even if something happened to me, it must not happen to my precious granddaughter. Onogi put down his work, straight out of the window. Huang Tu also flew out following behind in a panic. The two quickly flew towards the black soil training place. It took more than an hour to fly. The two finally found the Black King resting in the air on the Gobi Desert of the land of Earth. It's okay to see black soil. The two couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. They quickly leaned over. Haitu also noticed the two of them. Grandpa, my lord father, you are here. Haitu greeted briefly, then looked up at the sky. Seeing Haitu's bland reaction, the two were taken aback for a moment, thinking that Haitu was angry with them. After Onoki approached, he said softly, "Good granddaughter, have you been working too hard these days?" Grandpa admits, "I put too much pressure on you." Grandpa won't put any pressure on you in the future. Grandpa just wants you to be happy and happy. Don't practice indiscriminately. When Haitu heard the words, he immediately looked at Oyesho with a puzzled expression. Stress? What pressure? Grandpa, did you take the wrong medicine? Forehead. Onoki's eyelids twitched. Only when my good granddaughter is still angry. Continued. Don't be angry, my granddaughter, come back with us obediently. Look at your dark circles, they almost fall to your heels. Hurry up and go back to rest, your body won't be able to accept it if this continues. Haitu shook his head and said, "No, I can't practice." Onoki sighed deeply, and said, "Practice is not something that happens overnight, and you should be very clear about the principle of combining work and rest." Yeah. Why are you so eager? Huang Tu also flew over and said, "Did you work too hard recently? That's why you see that hallucination every day?" Onogi nodded. My dear granddaughter, don't think about it, that kind of speed is impossible to exist. I have been practicing for decades, and I have never seen a speed exceeding 100. Can you and I not know? Seeing the two of them, they completely misunderstood things. Haitu didn't want to explain either, so he raised his head and said, "How many times have I said this? I'm not confused. It's not a hallucination. There really is a little ghost named Uzumaki Naruto who flies very fast." Onoki still wanted to quibble, but Haitu pointed at the air. Well, the above is, he should be ready to go back now. You guys take a good look. The two looked up suspiciously, but saw nothing. They sighed involuntarily, looking at each other deeply tired. Under the circumstances of their negligent management, they did not expect that the Black King would fall into such a serious illness. How long has this hallucination been going on? Create something out of nothing? Looking at the sky, automatically imagining people? However, at this moment, caught off guard. Boom. A huge explosion came from the sky. The two suddenly looked up. Only a circle of white mist was seen spreading outward. A small figure pulled Bai Shui to form an exhaust gas that was hard to dissipate for a long time. It stretched for several kilometers, then it disappeared into the sky. The bright sun hangs high in the sky. The scorching sun shone on the heads of Onoki and Wangtu. Fine beads of sweat continued to emerge, but the sweat wasn't all from the heat. More because of what I just saw and heard, watching the elongated trail cloud slowly dissipate. The shock in the hearts of the two could not be calmed down for a long time. I've been watching those white mist completely dissipate. Onoki and Wangtu finally regained their senses. Eyes wide open, mouth open, face dazed. That is. What was that just now? Is that a person? My God. How is it possible to go so fast? What happened? The two of them were short of breath and panicked a lot. They are well-informed people, so they naturally know what it is. It is said that when the speed breaks through to a certain level, the circle of white rooms will appear on the surface of the object. To explain it with modern science, it is called the Mach ring. Only break through the speed of sound can appear. The last time Onoki saw the Mach ring was because he used the heavy rock technique to knock people out with all his strength. The person who was sent flying broke through the sound barrier in an instant, which made him know that there was such a thing. However, he never thought of it. Some people can produce this kind of ring by relying on speed alone, without relying on external force. It's really scary. And until this time, Onoki and Wangtu suddenly realized. It turns out that black soil has always been telling the truth. Not a hallucination, nor a figment of the imagination. There is really a boy in Konoha village, so fast.